Spring football is here. It is upon us. We're going to talk a little bit about some nuggets and some things around the team as we enter spring football. All that's coming up after this. What's going on, everyone? Welcome in. My name is Chris. This is Horns Behind Enemy Lines. Before we get this thing started, just wanted to remind you all, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video, comment down below, tell me what's going on. Be sure to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I post a new video, so I can keep coming with the content, guys. My washer is going off once again. I know it seems like I'm always doing laundry. Washer is going off. Got the microphone here. Speaking of the microphone, there was a couple of haters talking about my little sign here, Horns Behind Enemy Lines sign here. Let me know what you guys think of this. I like the sign. I made it myself. I wrote it out. I think it has character. I like it. Let me know if you think I should get like a real sign or something, because some people think I should get a real sign, but I like my sign. Let me know what you think if you like the sign. I digress. Let's get into this thing. Let's start off with quarterback here. It's been reported, that Card is in fact getting, the majority of the first team snaps at quarterback. It looks like he's a little bit more comfortable with it, which, doesn't really come as a surprise. He does have a year on Quinn, just in terms of familiarity with Sark's offense and whatnot, which makes sense. That's to be expected. But something that is sticking out, and, it may be obvious, but Quinn's natural ability, just his arm talent, and he's just so effortless with it. His throws just are so natural. Kind of ironic, which just is kind of funny, honestly, if nothing else, is the dynamic between these two quarterbacks. I mean, it resembles a lot of what we saw last year between Casey and Hudson Card. Experience versus upside, with Casey having the experience, having sat behind Sam Ehlinger for several years, and with Hudson Card having, seemingly a little bit more of the upside, a little bit more natural kind of raw talent. Fast forward to this year, it looks like that same thing, but now it seems like Hudson has a little bit more of that experience, in relation to Quinn, with Quinn having a little bit more of that natural, upside and just talent in general. If nothing else, it makes for a hell of a storyline, but how it shakes out, a lot of people do think that Hudson is kind of probably going to remain the starter for the duration of spring. I can definitely see that happening. That probably is going to happen. It's just so much. It's just a lot for Quinn to kind of soak up, to kind of absorb. I still am of the opinion that Quinn is going to be the one taking the first snap against Louisiana Monroe. That's just my personal opinion. But in terms of how long it takes for it to click, that's something that can't be predicted. So it's something that we're just going to have to see. Nothing we don't already know at running back. Bijan is eating. Roshan is eating. Even, Keelan and Jonathan Brooks. Even Jaden Blue. I know most of us have probably seen this clip. If not, here it is. I'll roll this clip. Jaden Blue just absolutely shakes up a defensive back. One of the walk-ons, but still a silky route. That's really exciting. I mean, people like Jonathan Brooks and Jaden Blue are super exciting to me, just because, they're once Roshan and Bijan leave, they're who we got. We'll see what happens with Ruben Owens. We'll see if he ends up committing to in this 2023 class. But it's funny in terms of running back is, it's probably at this point, it's probably our most reliable, most kind of sure thing in terms of position group. You go back to 2-3 years ago when we had like kind of two running backs, and it was one of the biggest question marks on the team. Keontae Ingram and Roshan. I'm pretty sure it was that was pretty much it. Both of which were still injury prone, but that's just football. That's just kind of the irony of football. You're lacking a little bit at one position. You go recruit the hell out of that one position, and you end up lacking in another position. And it's just a funny kind of cycle that happens. That's just football. I'm just kind of pointing out the irony in it. Really excited about running back because we have nothing but talent in that room. Offensive line is pretty much what we expected, just in terms of personnel. The most notable kind of nugget, I guess you could say, is, Christian Jones and Andre Carrick flipping sides, Jones moving over to right tackle, Carrick moving over to left tackle. I know a lot of people liked this. We're really kind of excited about it because it might be, a little bit of a indicator that the staff might be opening it up for a guy like Kelvin Banks to come in and snag that left tackle position, or at least, compete with Andre Carrick for that left tackle position. A guy like Kelvin Banks is really exciting, and, to entertain the thought of a guy that talented coming in and starting right away, all of us love that idea. I love that idea. But the possibility of Kelvin Banks coming in and struggling is still a possibility. So a thought that I had was, and this is for maybe as we get a little bit closer to the start of the season, but a thought I had was, if Kelvin Banks comes in and he's struggling, and even Andre Carrick is struggling at tackle still, a possible solution would be perhaps moving Hayden Connor to the left tackle position. I mean, he's got the body for it. He played it in high school. He's got the wingspan. He's got the body for it. He's huge. Moving Hayden Connor to left tackle. Obviously, Christian Jones would still be at right tackle. And then move Andre Carrick to right guard. I mean, Andre Carrick has got the body for right guard. I know one of the knocks against Andre Carrick, I hate to call it a knock, but something not working in his favor is his size. He is a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller just in general. But it's been said plenty of times that he's probably one of the nastiest O-linemen on the team. To me, that strikes me as a perfect guard. Have him and maybe even Devon Campbell fight it out for the right guard position. That's just me, though. I think that's something that could be looked into if the opportunity presents itself. Again, that's a little bit more long term, but we'll see how everything shakes out in terms of the offensive line. At wide receiver, obviously Xavier Worthy looks really good. Jordan Whittington looks as good as he's ever looked. Need him to stay healthy. We absolutely need him to stay healthy. I want him to stay healthy, man. Personally, he's one of my favorite players on the team. It's easy to say a guy like Bijan or even Xavier. But personally, I really like Jordan Whittington. I just want to see him. I just want to see good things happen for him. So I believe Marcus Washington is repping with the first team at the moment. Isaiah Nair kind of started off like third team, but he's already repping, kind of working in with the ones. I think we know where that's going. Nothing against Marcus Washington. He's probably the best blocker on the team. He's probably the best wide receiver blocker on the team. We're going to need that. He's going to play this year. But really excited about Isaiah Nair. A name that stuck out to me that I saw was Casey Kane, apparently, and that's exciting. Redshirt freshman Casey Kane. That's exciting. Apparently he's looking pretty quick. He's looking fast. And in my last video, I mentioned reliability at depth is something that has to be seen, that we're going to have to see, just because if we see dudes go down at wide receiver, you want to see people be able to step up. At tight end, it's a little bit of the carousel kind of what we expected, with Jatavion Sanders being consistent name that we've been seeing. Apparently he's looking really good, which is exciting. Gunnar Helm is repping a lot, as expected. Braden Liebrock and Juan Davis are both, they're practicing, but I guess they're both limited. So something to keep an eye on. We'll see it. Guy like Braden Liebrock, who just can't catch a break in terms of injuries. I'd like to see him be able to get onto the field a little bit. Billingsley, kind of like Isaiah Nayor, is kind of just going to have to work himself up the depth chart. I'm not necessarily as concerned about depth at the tight end position. We're talking about so many different dudes with so many different skill sets. With a position like tight end, and especially with a play caller like Sark, you're going to scheme guys like Jaleel Billingsley open. So I'm not necessarily concerned about depth at tight end. Before we move it over to defense, I don't want to forget about the special teams. Very, very important. Obviously, as expected, Isaac Pearson is doing the punting. He's looking pretty good. He's had to punt into the wind, I guess, several times, and it looks pretty good still. Deshaun Jameson, Xavier Worthy, and Jordan Whittington are all kind of getting looks at that punt return position. I'm assuming Bert Auburn, the fellow curly head, is getting the look at kickoff and field goal right now. I don't know if that's something that they're working on. We'll see how it shakes out with a guy like Will Stone coming in, 2020 class of 2022. He's not there yet. We'll see if we have a little kicking position battle, to fill the shoes of the great Cameron Dicker. We'll see how it shakes out, though. Flipping it over to defense now. The defensive line, like the offensive line, in terms of personnel, it's kind of going as expected. Even more so, there's no real moves going on as far as we know. It's funny, I think I read that like the media is always getting put like on the opposite end of the field from the defensive line. So there's like, it's always really hard to see the defensive line getting work. That's just something that's kind of funny to me. At linebacker, my guy Jalen Ford is apparently looking really good. He's a guy who I have a lot of stock in. I have a lot of stock in Jalen Ford. I think he truly is the guy, whether we go into the portal or not. Like I said in the last video, I wouldn't be surprised if we do, but I think Jalen Ford is the guy regardless. It's been kind of widely known that he's one of the team's hardest workers. Moving it over to defensive backs, someone else who I have a lot of faith in, a lot of stock in, JD Coffey, is looking really, really good apparently. Apparently he's snagged some interceptions and is looking pretty good at that free safety position. So it's looking a lot like it's going to come down to kind of a slugfest between JD Coffey and Jaron Thompson for that free safety position. Because I do know that Jaron is getting a look at nickel, but I think Jahdae Barron is going to lock down the nickel position before too long. So, boundary safety. Really excited to see Anthony Cook and Keaton Crawford. I mentioned Jahdae Barron a second ago at nickel. I've said it like 3 times now. He's too good to keep off the field. I truly think Jahdae Barron is going to end up being the starting nickel for Texas. I believe he's still getting a look at corner, which makes total sense. But for corner, Ryan Watts is apparently looking really, really good. People are super high on him, with good reason. He's got crazy size. He's long and rangy. It looks like he's going to be providing a lot of physicality, in terms of jamming and pressing receivers, which is really exciting to have a corner like that. And at the opposite side of the field at corner, it's looking like Deshaun Jameson still. I think some people think that a position change is in order for him, like moving him to nickel or safety. I don't see that. I don't see that happening, or at least I wouldn't see the reasoning behind it if they did it. In my opinion, it's kind of too late in his career. He's a vet. He's another one of those dudes he's a vet, and it's time. This is kind of make or break. I want to see him do really well. I want to see him, up his stock, up his draft stock. But that remains to be seen. And if he ends up struggling, Terrence Brooks, Jalen Gilbo, those dudes are apparently just turning heads right now. Those are 2 of some of the most talked about, true freshmen in this early enrollee 2022 class. So those are 2 dudes to keep an eye on too. But I think that's going to do it for this video. I just wanted to keep it kind of short, but I did want to, provide a little bit of an update and my thoughts on those updates. As the spring kind of gets going here, we still have, a little bit of a ways to go until the spring game starts, which I'm really excited for because I will be going down there for the spring game. Let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know some of your thoughts on some of the headlines and things that have kind of been going on at the start of spring currently. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that notification button so you can be updated every time I upload a new video like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Hook 'em.